Hello guys. So today I'll be teaching you guys how to set up your typography skill in Figma for any project you want to design, be it mobile application or website or web application. But before we jump into it, I would like to explain few things to you guys. Yeah. So when we talk about typography in design, typography is like one of the most important things, if not even the most important element of design. Because as we all know, design is all about communication, of course. So design is you communicating a solution to a troubled user or a user in need. And we all know that the oldest form of communication is typography, is text. Even the two holy books, the Bible and the Quran, were written in what? In text, right? So typography is very important in anything you're designing, especially in UI UX design. And I've seen so many junior designers today, just designing without even having a typography skill. So I'm going to show you guys how to design a typography skill in just 10 minutes before starting any project in Figma. So how do we go about it? The first thing you should know is that we have three major types of text in every project we do. There are three types of text or three classes of text in every Figma design. That is the header text, the body text, and the subtext. Now, your header text is always at the introductory part or the uppermost part of your page or section of a design. It's always the biggest, it's always on 100% opacity, it is always bold. Secondly, which is our body text is the normal text we use in writing general informations on our design frame. And the subtext now is the smallest text in the building, but also very important. Now, this subtext, as the name sounds, substitute text. It gives more meaning and more context to either the header text or the body text. This subtext can be paired with the header text. It can also be paired with the body text. So what we're trying to say is this subtext should never be bold. It should never be 100% opacity, and it is always the smallest. And most times it comes underneath the main text, either the header or body text, because it's only giving more meaning or more context to the main text. So another thing you should also know is header text has no limit depending on the kind of project you're building. If it is a mobile application, yes, you might have maybe 4 to 5 header text, right? If you are designing like a website, you can have more than 4. Some websites have like 10 header text, some even have 7 or 8, depending on how many subsections you're having. So the more subsections you have, the more header text you will be having. So header text depends on what you are building. Body text is universal, is general. In fact, as a matter of fact, here it's always advisable to have just one body text size in your design, because body text has to be consistent everywhere in your design, any page, anywhere in your design. Subtext also has that same characteristic. So subtext should also be the same anywhere in your design, right? For consistency sake, only your header text varies based on the section or subsection you are using it for. So let's quickly use the remaining 5 minutes to create our typography skill and style everything. So for this tutorial, I'll be creating just 5 header text. Body text, we have 3 main body text. We have the big body text, we have the medium body text, and we have the small body text. The big body text is mostly used in e-commerce, like where you're trying to write your prices. Let's say your cart prices. You've written all the prices of the items. Then you want to write the subtotal. That's why we use the big body text. This text is not a header text. It's still a body text, but it's like this total of all the text ahead of it, above of it, right? So you can make it bigger than the rest just to show that, oh, this is the total price of all the items you are trying to purchase or check out. So that is why we have the bigger body text. And the smaller body text and the medium body text can be used instead of one another. So the generally accepted body text is 16 pixels. And that is why you notice that if you check your icons, most icons on Figma, they're always coming in 24 pixels. That is because the best line height for your text is the size of the text multiplied by 1.5. So if your body text is 16, 16 times 1.5 will give you 24. And there's a design rule that says that wherever you are pairing a text and an icon together, your text line height must be equal to your icon's height. So if our generally accepted body text is 16, the line height is 24. That is why you see most icons coming in 24. So we have the base body text now at 16. The big body text will now be 18 pixels and the smaller body text will be 14 pixels. Now, where do we use small body text? Where do we use medium body text? We use the small body text whenever we are using a text that is naturally big. Text like Poppins. Poppins is bigger than Futura. Open Sans is bigger than Futura. So some texts are naturally big. So if you want your app to be sleek, maybe it's being used by Gen Z or the younger generations, you want it to look sleek, then you might want to settle for the smaller body text, which is 14 instead of 16. But if you are using a small text that is small naturally, like Futura, you can use 16, which is the base body text. And wherever you want to write maybe something that is more important than all other body text, you can use 18 pixels. So body text is just 3. Header text depends on how many you need. And subtext is also 3. We have the small subtext, the medium subtext, and the big subtext. Where the medium subtext is 14, the small subtext is 12, and the big subtext is 16, depending on the main text. So the bigger your main text, the bigger the subtext. So if your main text is like 24, your subtext can be like 16. If your header text is like 20, your subtext can be like 14. So let's quickly design this typo scale and style them. So the first thing I'll do is I'll tap T on my keyboard for text. I'll write my header text 1. As you guys can see, header text 1. So let's say I'm starting my header text from the smallest size now. I'm going to choose Satoshi. I love using Satoshi so much. And I'm starting my header text from, let's say, 16 for my smallest header text here now. So let's say I'm building a mobile application. So my smallest header text can be 16. And remember, your header text has to be bold. So I'll put it on bold, which is my smallest header text 1. Then, sorry, I'm going to also set the line height. Remember, I said the line height is the text size multiplied by 1.5. So I'll say 16 times, to get your multiplication sign, hold your shift key and tap number 8 on your keyboard, times 1.5, that's 24. Yeah. So I'll duplicate this, hold your shift and alt key, drag it down. To get the next header text, you multiply this one by the golden scale. The golden scale is 1.2. So you multiply this one times 1.2 to get the next bigger one. That is how to get your typo scale. So I'll multiply this 16, multiply by 1.2. That will give us 19.2. I'll round it up towards 20. Then to get the line height, that will be 20 multiplied by 1.5 to get my line height. That's 30. So this will be my header text 2. Right? So my header text 3, I'm going to say this 20 multiplied by 1.2 again, which is my golden scale, 24. The line height will be 24 multiplied by 1.5, 36. Perfect. My header text 4, which is the next big one, I'll say 24 multiplied by 1.2, golden scale, 28.8. I'll round it off to 28. Then this one will be 28 multiplied by 1.5, 42. Perfect. And also remember, please, we don't use decimal point or odd number in designing. So wherever you get either odd number or decimal point. You have to round it up to the nearest even number. So my header text 5 now will now be 28 multiplied by 1.2, 33.6. I'll round it up to 34, and this will be 34 multiplied by 1.5, 51. I'll round it up to 50. So I've gotten all my header text. To get my body text, I'll duplicate this holding my shift and my alt key, bring it to the front. Remember, your body text should always be regular. I already said this one has just 3 fixed sizes, 16, 18, and 14. So this one we don't need to multiply by 1.2. I'll just duplicate it in 3 places, right? Ctrl D. So this will be the smallest, 14, and the line height will be 14 multiplied by 1.5, 21. I'll round it up to 20, even number. This one is 16, the line height is 24, perfect. This one will be 18, and the line height will now be 18 multiplied by 1.5, 27. Round it off to 28. Yes, so these are my body text now. Body text 2 and body text 3. Yeah, to get my subtext, I'll duplicate this one again to the front. My subtext, I also told you guys, is just 3, right? We have 12, 14, and 16. So this one will be 12. Here we have 12 multiplied by 1.5, that's 18. Nice. Then the next one will be 14, and that will be 14 multiplied by 1.5, 21. Drop it to 20. Then the third one, the biggest one, will now be 16, and that will be 24 line height. And also don't forget, our subtext should never be 100% opacity, so I reduce it to gray. Yes. So now I have my typo scale for my mobile application design. So how do I style everything? I didn't edit this one. This one is supposed to be subtext 1, subtext 2, subtext 3. Yeah, so this is my typo scale for my design. So now we need to style them so we can use them anywhere. How do we style them? Highlight everything together like this. After renaming them, highlight them together. Then use your plugin styler. You have to use your styler plugin to style them. Hold your control and press /, control /, come to plugins and widgets and search for styler. Yeah, styler. So click on this drop down for styler and you generate styles. So the moment you click on generate styles, it's going to generate the styles for you. You guys can see I've created 11 styles, right? And if I want to see all the text I've created, all the text styles I've created, I'll click outside on an empty space and I can see it on the right hand side here. You guys can see them here. Text styles, header text 5432, header text 1 is here, then body text 1, 2, 3, then subtext 1, 2, 3. So I've styled everything. How do you know if it works? In case I want this text to be a body text, all I just need to do is write my text, then I'll come down here. I'll come down to this typography section here. I'll click on these 4 dots to access my styles. And I can see all the styles I've just created here. So if I click on, let's say, body text 3, it reduces and changes to body text 3. If you want to turn it to header text, just click on this drop down, then go click on the header text, and it changes back to header text. And if it is a subtext you want, come down here, click on the subtext, it changes back to subtext. Yes, so that is how to build your typography skill in Figma for your next project. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate to drop it in the comment section. I also have a lot of videos in case you are a UI UX design beginner. Please try to explore my page. I have a lot of videos for beginners that is going to help you kickstart your design career. So please don't forget to hit the like button and also the subscribe button. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.